the podcast to fill my brain. Movies and Task, Reddit, Minute of Sports, betting $1 and Joel the Game, Quora and questions from real listeners, all that and more on Joel the Podcast. Bzz. Hello everybody, I'm Alex.
And I'm Alex.
And this is our podcast, Joel. Welcome to episode 129 of Joel the Podcast. I'm your host, Alex, as you just heard.
I'm your other host, Alex. This is new.
Wow. Well, I know I've talked about this before, and probably recently if you're like listening to the episodes just like right after each other,
Yeah.
but it's not recent for me. But like, I always feel like there should be some thing after that, and there isn't. Other than I usually do say welcome to episode 100 and whatever episode it is.
Yeah.
And then I always comment about how there should be something after that.
One thing,
Why don't we,
it hasn't been relevant for a while, but another thing that we used to say is whether or not anybody owed someone $1.
No, I said that last episode.
Yeah, but you
And I
haven't
was going to
now.
say it this episode.
Okay.
Nathan owes me $1, everybody.
I do? What for?
We made a bet on the Super Bowl, I think,
I-
like months ago, and I don't think you paid me.
You might be right. I was going to say I thought I paid, but now that I think about it, I don't think I paid. Okay.
Now that I think about it, it was actually the game's fault.
Yeah. So, okay.
Nathan owes me $1. Anyway, let's go on to the Sports Minute, which is no longer the Sports Minute. Let's go on to the Sports Segment. We should come up with a different name, like that's better than Sports Segment.
Yeah, I don't like sports segment, and to be honest, even though Sports Minute is inaccurate, I feel like it's pretty iconic at this point.
What about Sports Minutes?
Sports Minutes. I could get behind that. I like Sports Minutes.
Yeah, that's almost exactly the same, and it's accurate.
Yeah.
Okay, welcome to our Sports Minutes.
Whoa.
So I guess to start, we have our first ever, as far as I can remember at least, live update of the Sports Minutes. This is a sporting event that is happening right now as we're recording it.
That's crazy.
Which is Purdue football is playing.
Oh, yeah. How's that?
At Minnesota.
How's that going?
Right now, they are winning
Whoa.
17-13.
Okay.
It is the third quarter with 13 minutes and 14 seconds left. They're about to punt back to Minnesota.
Okay.
And they were 7.5-point dogs, so up by 4 is pretty good on the road.
Yeah, can't complain about that. We'll always take a... At the very least, by this point, I feel like it's going to be a moral victory because it was a competitive game, if not an outright victory.
Yes,
which, of course, we're still.
All I root for in Purdue football games, is just for them to beat the spread. That's all I care about. They can lose by less than 7.5 points. I'll be happy.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. That's pretty fair. I think it's been, I don't know, disheartening as a football fan to see IU get a new coach last year and just immediately become good. And so it's really like ruined Purdue's not good at football. Even if we get a good coach, it'll take a little while to like, become competitive or whatever. And it's just like, well, why don't we just like win immediately? Indiana did it. It's really annoying.
So I don't follow Purdue football hardly at all.
Sure.
Or I follow them hardly at all. I don't follow them at all. So I did not know that they had a new coach and almost entirely new players.
Yeah.
Until a couple weeks ago, I was just like, oh, hey, Purdue's playing. So we turned the game on TV, and they were talking about that particular thing.
Yeah. Who are all these people?
Well, I didn't know all the players last year anyway,
Yeah.
so it wasn't like I was like, where are all the players I know?
Sure.
But like they were talking about how like almost like the entire roster is different, which is crazy. But anyway, they do seem to be
slightly better this year, like a step up from absolute garbage.
Yeah,
So that is pretty cool.
100% agree. And honestly, that's satisfying enough. I can't ask for too much. I'm putting all the hopes in basketball, so football can do whatever.
Yes, as we do. Okay, so now I want to shift perspectives. I want to give the listener a view into my mind as a sports fan right now.
Okay.
So I'm a fan of the Philadelphia team plus Purdue.
Yeah.
So right now in Philadelphia, Philadelphia has four teams, four major sports. So first of all, we'll start off with the 76ers. They're the basketball team. They're quite bad, or probably will be quite bad. Last year they were quite bad because all their best players were hurt, and there's really not much of a reason to believe that they'll be any better this year. Mm-hmm. Although, like, if their best players somehow play a lot, they could be okay. But really, no one in the city has any hope for them at all. Second is the Flyers. The Flyers are basically like a team where the question is, will they make the playoffs or not? And in the NHL, like, making the playoffs means you're mediocre. So it's not like they're really in any danger of doing anything that good.
Sure.
Although it would be kind of cool if they made the playoffs, because the last time they made the playoffs was COVID, which kind of doesn't really count.
So basically, making the playoffs is kind of the minimum of a decent team, and they just haven't done that for years.
Correct. Yeah. They've been bad for several years.
Rough.
And they're also the team that hardly anyone follows especially if they're not good. Like, there's diehard Flyers fans, but most general fans don't follow them unless they're good.
If you're a fan of Philadelphia sports, that doesn't necessarily extend to the Flyers. This is interesting to me. I think about because I've never lived in a major city or near a major city with several franchises. You know what I mean? So I never have been.
I mean, you grew up like an hour from Chicago, right? Hour and a half?
Yeah, but we didn't like Chicago. I think you have to be in Chicago to like Chicago. Or maybe you don't like
That's
Chicago.
Fine, but my point was I live about the same distance from Philadelphia as you lived from Chicago, so
I think this is interesting. Maybe I just don't know the East Coast feelings about the big cities nearby, but I feel like if you're not in the Chicago, the immediate Chicago area, Chicago is just kind of notorious in the Midwest for being this big annoying city. And at least in the part of Michigan where I grew up, the main interaction we would have with Chicago or the people of Chicago is when they would all come in the summer to our beaches and make the place crowded and annoying. So I guess what I'm getting at is it's not, there's no casual Chicago fandom if you're not from Chicago, at least in my experience.
I would be willing to bet that it's more because you were located 2 states away from Chicago.
Sure.
I would bet that if you grew up a similar distance, but in Illinois still, you would be a Chicago fan.
That's probably true. I would agree with that.
Or people around you would be, not necessarily you, but people in your area would be. Oh wow. Purdue has first and goal on the 8-yard line. I thought they were about to punt.
Was it
they had
did Minnesota muff the punt and then we just got the football back immediately?
I really thought it said fourth, but I'm going back in the old plays and I can't find anything. So I guess never mind.
Incredible.
Okay. Anyway, you're getting this great insight. Yes. Yeah. So that leaves the football and baseball teams, the Eagles and Phillies. And the past 3 years, since 2022, so I guess this is the 4th year, both of those teams have been pretty good.
Yeah.
And which is very helpful because they're kind of on alternate seasons. So the Phillies are the spring and summer, and the playoffs are in like the beginning of the fall, and the Eagles are like the fall and winter. So if both of those are good, it can kind of get you through the whole year. And then honestly, also Purdue basketball has been good. Excuse me. So that's kind of like been the supplement as well from the end of football season in February until the beginning of baseball season in April.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this year, so the Eagles won the Super Bowl, like in February. It was great. And everyone's super excited. And then the Philly season starts. Now the Phillies have been doing worse and worse. So in 2022, they like made the playoffs for the first time in 10 years as the third wild card, which that was the first year that there were 3 wild cards. So like the lowest team in the playoffs. Yeah. And they made this miraculous run to the World Series and lost in the World Series. And this was like this. I mean, it was incredible. No one expected them to do it. It was like playing with house money. They like won the first game of the World Series in Houston, and even though they couldn't finish it off, everyone had this like great feeling like this. This team is going places. Like the expectations are high that they could try and do this again. Yeah. And the following year, they made the playoffs again. Again, this time they were a higher wild card seed. They crushed the wild card team in the first round. And they made it all the way to the National League Championship Series. They were winning the series 3-2. With the final 2 games of the series in Philadelphia, they only had to win one of the last 2 games to make it to the World Series. And they lost. Literally, I'm telling you, everyone in the city like took it as a given, almost, that they were going to do that. That they were going to win one of the 2 games and get back to the World Series. And they didn't do it, which was very disappointing. But it was still like, you know what? They still got to the championship series. So it's one of those things. Then last year, they played like one of the best teams ever for the first half of the season. And then for the second half of the season, they played like 500, like the same number of wins and losses. Yeah. So if you like looked at their whole season, you'd be like, wow, they had a great season. They won the division. They got the number, I forget if they were the number 1 or 2 seed in the playoffs, but they got a bye in the first round of the playoffs. But like anyone who had been watching them is like, this is not good. Like they are not going well. Yeah. And they ended up losing in the first round that they played in. They lost in 4 games to the Mets, and it was not close. Like they just got destroyed. And so this year, and the problem is like in baseball, players are signed for very long contracts. Like it's like in the NBA and basketball, like the maximum you can sign for is 5 years. And in baseball, the Phillies have players on 10 or more year contracts.
It's kind of crazy. How long is the average baseball career? Like, do those guys just play for the Phillies forever, essentially?
So baseball is weird. So the best, like if you're really good, like you can play from. Now, baseball, you start later because you have to go through the whole minor leagues, but early 20s, usually when you get into the majors, to like some good players can play into their late 30s or even 40s. So you can have a 20-year career. Okay. Now, the weird thing in baseball is you don't get to become a free agent for a long time after you make it into the majors. Like, I think you're under the team that drafted you's control, or the team that you come up with's control for like 5 years before you can become a free agent. So most players don't hit free agency until they're like 27 or 28, and then those players, if they're like superstars, will then sign basically like a 10-year contract, and just be with whatever team they sign with. Sometimes with their original team, sure. But whatever team they sign with for most of their career, and then maybe at the end of their career they'll go play a year or 2 somewhere else. Right. But anyway, because of this like nature of long contracts, basically the entire team was coming back to be the same this year. And people like in the city were very skeptical of that, let's say. They were like, this team just totally stunk and choked in the playoffs and were terrible. Like, why? Like, how can we have any belief that it's gonna be any different next year? Right. It's gonna be the same players. And this year they changed everyone's mind. Like, They played their best baseball like in the second half of the year, so it looked like they were like peaking at the right time. They finished with an even better record than last year. They won the division again, got the bye again, and this time they played the Dodgers in the first round of the playoffs. Now, to put this into context, going into the playoffs, the Phillies had the best odds to win the World Series. They were considered by odds makers to be the best team.
Right.
Then the wild card round happened, and the Dodgers won their wild card round super easily. Like, they absolutely crushed, I forget who they even played. They absolutely crushed whoever it was. And so then, coming into the next round, the Dodgers had the number 1 odds, and the Phillies had the number 2 odds.
And they play
So,
each
like,
other.
basically, yes. Basically, these are, like, the 2 best teams, according to the odds makers.
That's crazy.
And they play each other in the first series.
Do the odds account for that? Like, is it basically the winner of this
they
is
must.
going to win the World Series, more or less?
Well, I would say is most likely to, not is going to.
Sure, but I mean, if they're number 1 and number 2 odds, but they play each other in this round, their individual chances must be just like, I mean, sure, likely to is the right thing to say, but the chances must be just like such so disproportionately high compared to other teams. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And maybe that I assume it must take it into account because like there's money on the line. They're not just like making these odds for people to read. Like,
yeah. Maybe people are stupid.
So
maybe they give the money and they're just like,
well, that's true. But Vegas odds makers are not stupid. Yeah. So anyway, Phillies because they had a better record in the regular season, the Phillies are like the home team. Home field advantage, so the first 2 games are played in Philadelphia. The Dodgers had to play 2 games earlier in the week, so they have to put their 3rd best pitcher out there for the first game. So it's like everything is lined up. Like if we're gonna beat the Dodgers, these are the conditions. Like everything that is possible to be in our advantage is in our advantage. Yeah. And they lost the first game at home, and they lost the second game at home, and they go on the road to Los Angeles down 0-2. And they won the first game in Los Angeles, and so the first 2 games were close. Like the scores were 5-3 and 4-3, I think.
Okay.
Something like that. And in Game 3, the Phillies won 8-2. Like their best players finally hit well. They were playing against one of the Dodgers' best pitchers, who was like going to be in the top 3 for Cy Young this year in the National League. And you're like, okay. All they have to do is win 1 more game in Los Angeles, and then the series comes back to Philadelphia. And the Phillies had a great pitching matchup in this game too, because they had their best pitcher, and the Dodgers had like their 4th best pitcher. And it was a very, very close game. After the 9th inning, the game was tied 1-1. The Phillies ended up bringing their closer in the 7th inning. Because that was like the highest leverage situation. Like the Dodgers had 2 runners on, and the Phillies were winning 1-0. And so they brought their best pitcher in to try and get out of it. And anyway, 1-1 at the end of 9. Game goes into the 10th inning. No one scores. 1-1 going into the 11th inning. And in the bottom of the 11th inning, the Dodgers load the bases with 2 outs. And the guy hits a ground ball to the pitcher. And the pitcher, like, it's an easy play, but the pitcher, like, misplays it. Like, it bounces off his glove or something, which is not in and of itself, like, preventing the play from working. He can still just pick it up and throw it to first base. Sure. But he absolutely panics, and I don't know if he'd forgotten how many outs there were or didn't realize he could still throw it to first base or whatever, but he just, like, picks up the ball and just, like, throws it home, and it's, like, a terrible throw. Like, the catcher didn't even catch it. And the Dodgers score the game-winning run and the series-winning run, and the Phillies are eliminated in the first round of the playoffs again.
I mean, based on how we were talking about this, I knew this story was going to have a tragic ending, right? Like, all the signs were there.
Yes.
Well,
it's not, the story's not over.
Okay.
It was rough. But the story's not even over yet.
Okay.
So meanwhile, the Eagles season started in September. Now, the Eagles, like I said, they won the Super Bowl last year. Their offense is basically the same, although their offensive coordinator became a head coach. They have a new offensive coordinator. Their defense is like about half the same. They had some key players leave. So people are predicting that they would be probably worse this year, but still, like, they should be a very good team.
Sure.
So they come into the first game and they win. And it was such a weird game because there was like a lightning delay in the middle of the game. And the game totally shifted on the lightning delay. Like, for whatever reason, like the offense was like couldn't be stopped until the lightning delay, and then suddenly they couldn't score anything. And anyway, they came out of the game with a win against the Cowboys, which was good, 1-0. They go next week to play the Chiefs, who they just beat in the Super Bowl, but like the Chiefs are like the defending AFC champion team. Their Eagles are on the road at the Chiefs, and they don't look great, but they pull out the win, which, like, when you're on the road at the defending AFC champions, amazing. Week 3 comes, they're playing the Rams, who like have a very good offense. The Rams have looked pretty good. The Rams are also undefeated coming into that game. And Eagles don't look great, but they pull out the win, 3-0. Week 4, the Eagles go down to Tampa Bay. The Eagles are 1-4 in Tampa Bay the last 4 years. Tampa Bay has just like killed them for whatever reason. Same thing again. They don't look great. They win the game, 4-0. Now, so then we come to week 5. Now, so the context of this is that Philly's first game that they lost was on a Saturday. The very following day was Eagles week 5, which is a Sunday. So the Phillies are down 0-1 in the playoffs. Eagles game comes. They're playing the Broncos. And, coming to the game, people knew it would be a close game, but it's like the Eagles just like should be getting better and better. They have all this talent. They should win this game. And they come into the fourth quarter with a 17-3 lead and blow it. Absolutely just fourth quarter, they can't do anything. Lose the game. I forget what the final score was, 24-17 or something like that. So Phillies lose game 1 Saturday. Eagles lose their first game Sunday. Look bad. Phillies lose game 2 Monday. Wednesday, Phillies win game 3. Thursday, Phillies lose game 4. Thursday night, Eagles play week 6 against the Giants. The Giants are bad. I mean, they are bad. They are not good. And so everyone goes into this game. I mean, they're more focused on the Phillies because it's the playoffs.
Sure.
But it's like, okay, Eagles should win this game. Hopefully they can, like, actually look good in a game. Like, actually up until, so like, weeks 1 through 5, even though they were 4-1, Eagles had been outgained. Like, the other team had got more yards than the Eagles in every game. It's like, let's see if we can outgain the Giants. So we come in, Phillies game, 6 o'clock. The game is going. Eagles game starts at 8:20 during the Phillies game. And, Phillies game goes long because it goes into the 11th inning.
Oh, right.
It's probably about 9:30. Phillies lose in this terrible fashion. And the Eagles get destroyed. I mean, they give up 34 points to the Giants, who stink. I think they scored 17 again, 34-17 final. And that was now 2 days ago.
Ouch.
So I would say that how long are we into this now? 23 minutes.
Yeah.
Not good.
Not good.
I'm looking forward to Purdue basketball season.
Hey, yeah, same. At least we have, Purdue versus Minnesota going well so far.
20-13, Purdue kicked a field goal.
Let's go.
All right. Sorry about that. I really did not intend for that to be that long.
It's got me wondering if this is like just a. Do we have other things that we should vent about? Is this just going to be the episode that we like scream into the void, publish it, forget about it forever and then like do our stuff next week. But I don't know. There's time to recover.
Yeah. Let's make an hour 45-minute episode.
Hey, let's do it.
Let's see if we have any emails. Oh wait, did you want to talk about anything in the sports minutes?
That's a great question. You know what? No, I don't think so.
Thank goodness. Thank goodness.
No.
Everyone in the audience, please say no. Please say no.
I've actually been thinking a lot recently about the 2007 Patriots. Let me tell you about a football team.
And by the way, a good portion of our audience, I guess half of our 2-person audience, like already knows all the stuff that I just said. So
just gonna be reliving it.
Yeah. Sorry, Danielle.
That's awesome. All right. You asked about emails, and we do have some emails. I'm pretty excited about this. So.
Oh, excellent. This will be a good recovery.
Yeah. What a way to recover from that trauma dump than to talk about our 2 emails that we received this week. So, first up, this one comes to us from Cephalopodmaster. Subject line on this one is text dumbass to 386-2277 for cool dumbass facts. Hello, Alex and Alex at Joel the Podcast. I discovered last week that you can text squid or bug to 833-724-8398 to receive a cool squid or bug fact from an automated bot. It made me wonder, how come we can easily access squid facts on any phone, but we cannot access Joel facts the same way? Surely trillions of people would enjoy having easy and convenient access to Joel facts at any time. Is it possible to have a Joel facts hotline? Please look into this. So I'm gonna start by asking you, did you know about this squid and bug thing? This is pretty cool, actually. You just text that and it'll send. I was looking into this because David actually sent me a message about this separately before he sent this email. But it was a science education initiative where they worked with this nonprofit or whatever to set up this text hotline, and it just has a automated response from this bank of facts. Seems cool. I don't think it would be hard to do, but it might be expensive to do. So,
well, here's my question. Yeah. What kind of facts about Joel the Podcast are you looking to get?
So, I think what might be fun, that is a good question, and maybe David can provide some clarity to us, because probably what he thinks matters more than what I think on this subject. My first thought, the first thing that I would think to do is to clip just random bits from any of our episodes, like find random sound bites, transcribe the sentence or whatever it is. You text, dumbass to this number, and it sends you. Okay, there are two bits. The first bit is what I was originally thinking is it would just text you like a random line from the podcast. I don't know, that's not that funny. The second bit, which is funnier, but probably not in a way that we would actually do it, is that you text it and it just responds to you like, please email us at alexandalex@joelthepodcast@gmail.com, which you can do for real. So please do that.
So neither of those sound worth it to me.
Yeah.
Like neither of those sound like something that anyone would text more than 5 times and then be like, this is not interesting, and stop.
That is a pretty ambitious.
I mean, I guess I would say if you feel like you want to go see if you can set this up and that would be fun for you, absolutely go for it. But I guess neither of those seem interesting enough that I would have any interest in putting any effort into setting it up.
Is there anything we could do that would be interesting enough? I just don't think that the level of the type of content that we make is.
We could probably, with effort. Okay, so here's an idea.
Okay.
I don't know if we'll do this, so I feel bad saying this out loud on the recording, but So for those of you who don't know, Nathan is going back and listening to old episodes of our podcast. We have a big spreadsheet where we write down what we do in each episode, so that way when we start a new episode, we can be like, oh, what should we do? Well, let's look at what we did recently, so we don't just like do something we did like last episode. And we started doing this around episode 95. And so we have a whole big bunch of blanks below episode 95 for what we did in the episode, because it's not immediately obvious from the title of the episode. You have to listen to the episode to find out what we did. Right. And so Nathan has actually been listening to old episodes and started filling in the bottom of the spreadsheet. I bet that if we listened to old episodes and talked about it, we could come up with interesting-ish things about the episode or about our experience.
Like a behind-the-scenes director's
Yeah, like,
notes.
we recorded this episode. Like, okay, Sherlock Holmes, we recorded that in person, right?
We did, yeah.
Was that when we went back to visit Purdue?
It was.
So, like, we could probably say something. I mean, I'm sure we said on the episode, but like, this episode's a bad example. But like, say like, oh yeah, we recorded this while we were sitting in the SPS lounge after we graduated. Oh, so crazy.
Yeah.
So like, I bet we could come up with like, I don't know, some number of interesting facts to put into this thing. I don't know how many we could come up with. Might not be enough.
I think so.
Plus, it requires.
I think we could definitely come up with enough. Just from my experience having listened to some old episodes recently, I feel like, and maybe this is just because I've been listening, having in my head that we were going to be talking again soon, because we did have like a conversation about this before we started recording, where we were just talking about some old episode stuff. And I think it's easy to come up with content like that, pretty effortless, actually. We would just have to listen to hours and hours and hours of our old catalog and make notes.
Right.
And I don't know, because I haven't been thinking about it, how interesting those notes might be to other people compared to us who are actually the ones, in the episode.
Right. So I guess here's what I would say then. As a long shot project, meaning there's absolutely no commitment to us actually doing this, but just like, here's an idea, let's see if we can execute it without too much effort. As you listen to old episodes, and I at some point I'm going to start listening to these old episodes. Let's take these notes and see if we can come up with anything interesting. And it may even require us talking through them, like, do you remember XYZ? Oh, I think, and then, talking about it might jog each other's memory.
I think we made...
And hopefully we can come up
We made this kind of as a joke before, didn't we? I don't know if it was on the podcast or just us, where we were talking about listening to an older episode and just doing a reaction to it. And then eventually we would catch up to the point where the episodes were the reactions to the old episodes, so we would be reacting to the reaction. It just keeps stretching
I think we talked about this last time we talked.
It was, yeah, and that wasn't a podcast, was it? So there you go. There's a fun behind the...
There's your first...
There you go. You didn't even have to text us.
We can reveal all of the jokes that we come up with that would be funny to talk about, but not actually funny to do.
Yeah, I think we're really good at coming up with things like that. So that may be the fallback option of, like, if we don't want to make it relevant to our content, we can at least be like, text this number and you'll get a response of something that's like amusing to think about if you don't think about it too much or like actually try and do it.
Ooh, I actually have another great idea what we could do for this that I can't say on the air. So
great, let's talk about
try to
that
remember after the podcast.
I'm gonna make a note so that we remember to talk about that.
Now, the other part of this is setting up this like texting service. Does that seem like something you could feasibly do?
I have no idea how to do this. I quickly Googled to see if it was like if there were just free offerings for this, and without doing a lot of research, the answer seems to be no, and the automated texting services actually seem to be pretty expensive. However, I'm sure there's a way to with your own kind of self-hosted system, receive and respond to SMS, right? It doesn't have to be a managed service that you get somebody to do. So,
Right. It seems like if there's some like easy Python library to send texts, you could set this up on like an Arduino or something.
exactly.
Just running at your house. Okay. Cool. I think we have that's a seed of an idea. Is that everything in that email?
Lots of seeds. That's everything from that email. We've got one more. So it also comes to us from Cephalopod Master, subject line, I am a dumbass. By the way, now that we've talked about how I've been listening to the old episodes, the one that I most recently listened to is the one where we came up with this bit about emailing us with the subject line, I'm a dumbass. Do you remember anything about that? Like the origin of that?
So this is Ben. This is the email where the one where Ben sent us an email, right?
Ben sent us an email, but it's not related to that. I think, well, it might have actually been the episode before that where we were talking about this.
I assume it was just some bit about like we sometimes do this bit where like we're better than everyone. So like yeah, everyone should have the subject line I'm a dumbass. I don't remember. No, I don't remember is the answer.
Okay. With you mentioning Ben, I went back and looked at his email. He actually sent us an email with no subject. So that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think David is the only one who has ever used this subject. I think we received emails from multiple other people who have not used this subject.
You are correct, I think, as I'm looking, and he uses it pretty much every... Oh, no, Ben has sent us a second email at some point. Subject, I am a dumbass. So,
Okay.
good job, Ben. But anyway...
Okay, go on, tell us the bit.
Yeah, here's your second fun fact that you don't have to text us for, is that the origin of this bit was we were talking about something, I don't remember, but it was related to my high school. And you said, for something along the lines of like, for the listeners who don't know, Nathan went to a high school with like the smallest number of students you can think of. And then we were talking for a little bit longer, joking about how like, you know, whatever number you're thinking of, it's smaller than that. And then I don't remember how we got to the point where you said it's more than one student, dumbass. And then we started laughing and talking about how, like, of course, you know, some listener out there, of course, they were immediately thinking as soon as we said that, it's like, oh, you went to high school with one student. And so we said, if you're that dumbass who that was your thought, email us with the subject line, I'm a dumbass. And then, I don't know, there may be some more follow-up in episodes, in subsequent episodes where we continue to joke about that, but that was the first time. That was where it came from, and it's persisted over 100 episodes and, I don't know, dozens of emails later. So, there you go.
Wow. Historic.
Monumental.
Yeah, none of what you said... Yeah, monumental. None of what you said was jogged my memory.
Yeah.
There was no point in that where I was like, oh, now I know where this is going.
No, yeah, me either. Okay, we're getting totally derailed from this email. Maybe this is just a podcast history episode now, but
It's fine. We'll see how it goes.
my favorite thing that has happened, because I'm listening to episodes that we recorded like 7 years ago, right? And I have no memory of these episodes at all. And it's really funny to me when we're talking about something and I'm thinking about what would I say to this now? Like if we were doing this podcast, what would I say? And then I, in the podcast, say it.
I think I've had that experience listening to old podcasts before. I think I've had that same experience.
That is super entertaining. I find it really...
Yeah.
And it's, just having like this backlog of myself over the years just talking to you is a really interesting thing to go and revisit.
Yeah, I'll be interested. Do you feel like, you know, obviously we started recording this podcast 6 years ago. Yeah. Do you feel like, obviously the podcast has changed. Do you feel like our relationship has changed or our rapport or anything like that?
I don't really think so. I feel like what's happened is over the years we've kind of polished the podcast into its own kind of like podcast bit, and we talk more outside of the podcast, because it used to be we would talk and do the podcast weekly, so we wouldn't talk much before, from what I can tell, and then we would just do the podcast, which ends up being a bit more of us like doing what we're doing now, basically, which is just like whatever comes to mind. Whereas these days, with the exception of today, obviously, we kind of have a bit more focus on a thing and do a podcast episode about it. But
so here's what I'm thinking. We should stop this right now or soon and just start over. And like, because this is nothing. This is I mean, this is literally 20 minutes of me talking about sports and 20 minutes of us talking about our old podcasts. Like, that's kind of what. And maybe we can release this audio if you want. Like,
for sure, this is like
bonus content or something like that.
At minimum, if not literally just like zero effort. This is the episode.
Because I still wanna play Joel the game. Like. And it's Saturday night, so I can stay up later than usual. Right. So, I guess my question is, do you want to stop this now, like I suggested, or stop it after we read the next email, or do you want to just power through and make a super long episode?
I don't feel like this has been too uninteresting. Maybe I'll be proven wrong, but my opinion is just let's power through. If you feel like this is worth like chopping into two parts of an episode of like, this is the rambly bit and then this is the proper like focused bit. I think the one thing we won't do is go and reread the last email, right? So.
Well, yeah. What I would say is if we chopped it into a second bit or a second, stopped and started over, what we would just do is say, Sports Minute. Okay, we recorded this whole other part. Go listen to that if you want a Sports Minute. It's like, we're not doing it again. Because I just think that the Sports Minute, like 20 minutes of sports stuff, it's just way too much, especially for Danielle, who already knows everything that I said. Right. So it's like I don't want to like, I know that if I say, let's go back and like edit in like a warning, like skip ahead 20 minutes, we're not going to do that. So the only reason I wouldn't want to make it just keep going and make it one entire episode is then there's no way for anyone to know that they should just skip ahead, basically.
All right, here's what we're going to do, because if we keep talking about what we're going to do, that's going to be another 20 minutes. We're going to cut this right here. We're going to redo the intro to the podcast, and we can talk about how we just did stuff, like 40 minutes of stuff. And
yes,
everything from here forward is going to be the episode. And then after the episode, like just right after the episode, I'm going to upload a second bonus episode content, which is just all of this recording, because like I feel like it was fine.
Great.
It's just long.
Yep. Yeah, that's fine with me. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'm Alex.
I'm Alex.
And this has sort of been Joel.